Messi versus Ronaldo, Pjanic versus Artur, first place in the group on the line. And yet, my attention heading into this match remained steadfast on the issues of the Liga. So going into this contest, the only thing I cared about was not getting played off the pitch and keeping everybody healthy. Well, everyone did stay healthy, it seems like, after the match, but Barca were played off the pitch, so we are going to focus on the malaise of what today's match not only meant, but unfortunately how I promised myself I wouldn't get frustrated and wouldn't get sad about the result, but here we are. So let's talk about it. For Koeman, it was arguably a best 11 plus Trincao since Pedri has been playing better than Coutinho, Araujo was back to full fitness, and Pjanic should be starting for his old team as Busquets started against Cadiz. Even the expected netter for Ter Stegen didn't happen. I think Koeman wants his team playing with confidence, and he just wants results no matter where to get them. Unfortunately, Champions League form has yet to carry over the 3 or 4 days back to the Liga. But back to the match at hand, which, as we know, form did suffer for Champions League as well, because Barca struggled to move the ball out of the back, and Juve got some early chances. Barca seemed to respect Juve's superior runners, i.e. Barca don't have a runner like Weston McKennie in their midfield. So defensively, they settled into a 4-4-2 with little pressing. The only real pressing occurred occasionally up near Juve's goal right after they had lost the ball. And Barca weren't playing well. They were completely played off the pitch for the first 20 minutes of the match, and it was basically over at 2-0, even though that result still mattered for them. So the 2 goals, 1-0 for Ronaldo, easy Araujo foul call on Ronaldo just because he put the arm across Ronaldo's body, and I actually don't think, as much as I hate the guy, that Ronaldo sold it. It was a penalty, unfortunate as it might be for the Uruguayan, who had a tough early test in his return to the field. He just wasn't up to speed, and I, again, understand the call. Ter Stegen even guesses correctly, but Ronaldo puts enough on it, and it's 1-0. Then the 2-0 a few minutes later, a defensive breakdown by Barcelona, following the ball and nobody picking up the late runner in the box, Aaron Ramsey switching the field, and so Araujo and Lenglet both went to the attackers at the front post, and it was a simple run by McKennie right down Main Street with an acrobatic finish. Even for me, as a U.S. men's national team fan, I always want to see Weston McKennie do well, but not against Barcelona. So yeah, it was a goal that, in hindsight, let's say Barca wins the Champions League and they raise that trophy. Again, I'm living in a fantasy world, but I would then be excited in hindsight and say, oh, that was a good goal by McKennie. But again, a wonderful finish by the American, but frustration because that run should not happen. Nobody picked him up, and the 2 center-backs got caught out at the front post. Barca did respond well, though, in terms of just emotionally responding to that goal. The best Barca movement of the first half came when Barca were moving the ball side to side and ended with a long shot by Pjanic. But even after that, Barca didn't lose the game again, being the more dominant team through the rest of the first half. Dest made his early defensive errors, but did get success on that right side, getting a few crosses in and looking dangerous. As I said for Dest, even his poor games, you get something. Alba, on the other hand, though, I don't think you can name me the last time Alba had a great game that we didn't mention his connection with Messi. Unfortunately, I feel like as Dest's floor is pretty high, Alba's floor has lowered. He's still having a so-so to good season and is fine most days, but when he's bad, as he was today, that floor has been lowered permanently. And with Alba, it gets even more frustrating because he basically tells you, hey, I'm picking up a yellow today, and today's not my day. And those two things seem to perfectly correlate. A yellow means that Alba has lost it between the ears, and that means he's not going to have it physically. So changes had to be made, and at halftime, Braithwaite came on for the ineffective Trincao, who I've talked about plenty before on the podcast and in other match reviews if you want my thoughts on him. As for Braithwaite, it was all about opening up spaces for Griezmann and Messi. Griezmann, though, moved out to the right, and Messi remained in the middle. But for all of Barca having some success to end the first half and the beginning of the second half, the 3-0 came soon after. Ter Stegen, a wonderful save off a Ramsey shot, but that was nullified by the handball from Lenglet and the second penalty kick of the game for Juve. Continuing a poor year for Lenglet. He's being seen as the top center back for Barcelona. Not that he ever was meant to be in that role, but here we are with an injury to Piqué and no other reinforcements brought in to solidify that center back spot because for all the times they've tried to sell Umtiti, he's always been injured and they have been unable to transfer him out. But Lenglet, for all of his good success when he first arrived, this game was all about his issues and all about the problems about having Lenglet as your number one. He just does not lead and command that back line as you'd expect your number one center back to do. And this season in particular, maybe it's mental fatigue, but he is prone to mistakes like handballs and misplaying throw-ins. And it's just a tough week for Lenglet. And so that meant another penalty for Ronaldo and another goal for Ronaldo, this time Ter Stegen guessing wrong. The 55th minute, it was Junior Firpo for Alba with a yellow, and Samuel Umtiti for Lenglet with a yellow, where both were playing bad, not sure, whatever you want to call it. 65th minute saw the introduction of Puig for Pedri, and for some reason, his inclusion seemed to activate Griezmann a bit. And honestly, with Puig on, the ball moved much faster, he had 2 key passes as well, and Barca looked much more like a 4-3-3. That build-up got the offside penalty call, if that's what you want to call it, but it was a bright sign that all those who've been yelling Puig needs to come on, I think there might be a little vindication for you in this game. And thankfully, it was offside on the other side of the pitch for Bonucci's goal, giving Barca a few more minutes for a desperate goal. At least it was thankful at the moment, but we know how this works. Barca don't score the desperate goal anymore. It hasn't happened for 3 years now. Mingueza the sub on for Araujo as Barca kept pushing. Barca kept pushing and pushing and pushing for the last 20 minutes, barely a moment out of Juve's half. And yet, I've never seen so many long and wide shots coupled with deflections off teammates. Those things do happen, but it felt constant. And it's a testament to the lack of cohesion in this team, nobody knowing where they need to be, and for all of the hard work and discipline that Koeman was expected to be bringing to training sessions and practices. This seems like a team completely out of sorts, so maybe he needs to go back to whatever they were doing, because whatever they are doing in training certainly does not have them working, and the chemistry seems to be zero on the field a lot of the time. Unfortunately, Barca kept making history as well, as the faces stayed the same in this match. Buffon, that being the famous Buffon, kept Messi off the score sheet, silly Ronaldo scoring penalties, and Barca continuing their downward descent, even though Messi had a good day, and other than Lenglet, who was poor, Alba not his best, De Jong, Pjanic could have been better in the midfield, I don't know if anybody else really had stinkers, and Griezmann, I guess you could say, not necessarily had a stinker, but was absent for about 70 minutes of this match. You can't have Antoine Griezmann go missing like that. Barca hadn't been beaten in 38 Champions League matches at home, not since 2013 had they lost, but here we are. And this result is all about Barca. We weren't Serie A or whatever you want to say. It's an antiquated idea that Serie A teams still don't play with the ball. Atalanta, Sassuolo, Napoli, and the Giants have all been playing much better football for a few seasons on now in Italy. And that showed in that first half that Barca were beaten by a team that knows how to use the ball, but knows how to play when they don't have the ball. And Barca didn't in this match know how to do either. They were poor with the ball, and they were even worse without it. So yes, it's a shame that this could be the last Messi versus Ronaldo, but I don't even know if we know that's true. It's so hard to tell what's going to happen, even from year to year. I don't have much else to take from this match, though. The feeling is real that this squad will be the heavy underdogs against whoever they meet in the next round as the runner-up in this group. Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Liverpool, a lot could go wrong, but there are still things to build on for all you nihilists and pessimists out there. Puig needs to be playing, though. I'm going to flip the script on this a little bit, especially on the podcast. I've gotten nihilistic in almost defending Koeman that Puig doesn't fit in a 4-2-3-1, which I did support at the start. But that hasn't been the right answer, so why shouldn't Puig play over Coutinho in a 4-3-3? This team kinda stinks. Koeman is facing a situation where he can either go down with his ideas and his ship, or he can try to turn this around a bit by changing things up. And Puig is part of that. Bartomeu may have got Barcelona in this mess, and it's going to take a lot of work and multiple seasons behind the scenes to fix all of the issues at the club, but Koeman can work with what he has in front of him, and that means that he is the manager of Barcelona at the moment, and he needs to change things up and do his best with the players that he has to get some results, so at least Barca next season can be somewhere near the Champions League, can be somewhere near the top of the Liga table, because that is what we're now looking forward to. And I think we can even start that this weekend against Levante. So Barca need to just put at least this Champions League match behind them and get back to work in the Liga where there is work to do. And we'll be here for it no matter what. So until then, I'll try to stay positive and Forza Barca.